Alright, hello. It is the monthly update for May. Hello, hello, hello. As of now, I think I am at... I don't want to be a numbers Andy, but let me check real fast. 50 subs? Is that true? Don't change on me now. It'd be funny if someone unsubbed. Don't unsub, though. 50. That's nice. That's a lot of people. So welcome, everybody. Everybody who is newly subbed and has been subbed, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. This month has been the month of Darkest Dungeon 2, basically. Me uploading my playthrough and boss fights and hero shrines of all the content that I've tried to get through. So with the release of Darkest Dungeon 2 on Steam, I wanted to do a new save file. That's what I did. And man, I forgot how annoying it is starting off in this game. This might trail off into a little mini rant here, but overall I do like Darkest Dungeon 2, but there are definitely a lot of things that I do not like. And one of them is the fact that every character you're basically playing to the half of their potential starting out off, right? Because you get your base skills, but then you have to go to hero shrines to unlock more skills. Now you're saying, oh, that's not that bad. But when you really think about it, the most hero shrines you could get in a run is maybe like 3, maybe 4. But 4 is if you're super lucky with the pathing. So it's mainly closer to like 2 to 3. But since each character has 4, 6 skills to unlock with 5 hero shrines, that's a lot. That's a lot to go through. Because at least in Darkest Dungeon 1, you could just buy the skills that you wanted up front with gold. So you could do like a money run and then buy your skills if you really need them. But in this game, you can't do that. In this game, the gold doesn't translate to unlocking skills. The only way to unlock skills is through hero shrines. So you have to get 1. You have to be lucky to scout the hero shrine from the pathing. And then 2, beat it. Now, most of the hero shrines are actually the majority of the hero shrines you can beat because they're pretty easy. But some of them aren't. Some of them are not. Like, especially the Jester hero shrine and the Runaway hero shrine, which I uploaded a couple days ago or like a week ago. And those were annoying to go through. I failed my Jester, the Jester one, my first time because I misplayed moving my character around. But that Runaway hero shrine, oh my god. Play with fire, but you have to choose the fight. I don't know, I completely... Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. But, it's good though, but that's a big problem I have with the game, because it's really hard starting off. And also, it's not only that. You're basically starting off with no items discovered, no trinkets discovered, no in items, no stagecoach items, so you're basically at the mercy of what you get. So it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad starting off. Like, I don't know how people are coping with being like completely new to the game, but it's definitely grindy. That's all else. Like, that's a big word or a great word to describe the game, is grindy for sure. Yeah, but up until a couple days ago, I beat all of Darkest Dungeon 2, which I'm finally glad that I did. It took a while to get here. Many attempts, many failed attempts, mainly at the Eye Boss. The Eye Boss is going to be a wall for most people, like it was for me when I hit Early Access too, when I was fighting the Eye Boss in Early Access. But overall, I do like the game. I really do. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I'm gonna bounce back and forth because my thoughts are kind of everywhere. I like to keep these monthly updates kind of like a free-flowing thought process. I just talk about whatever. Not to keep it too rigid, just to say what's on my mind and then to go through what I think or my thoughts on things and games that I've played throughout the month, which is nice. But I beat Acts 4 and 5. 5 being the final boss. I will say Acts 4 and 5 are definitely easier than the bosses for those acts are definitely easier than the Eye Boss. The Eye Boss being like insanely hard. I don't know if that's intentional that they made Act 3 boss the hardest boss, but it definitely is challenging, to tell you that. And I'm gonna keep saying this, but for most new people going to Act 3, you will die. You will die unless you get insanely lucky. Because I doubt that any new player is going to know what to do for that boss and figure how to kill it without looking it up beforehand and cheating, right? Cheating in my single-player story campaign game? I would never do that. Because I know I definitely did. After I died... Well, here's the thing. I went in... My first time in Early Access, I went in blind. Wow, the pun there. No, yeah, but I went in blind. And I got completely... Like, when the second phase started, came out and the boss just wrecked my team because all my tokens were spread out. One for each hero. And then it critted and brought like everybody pretty much to death's door. I was like, oh yeah, that's fair. I think I still have that fight on my channel. My first attempt at the iBoss where I wiped, but that was pretty rough. And the sad part is that it took so long to get there too. Like, cause each run takes 3.5 hours, you know. Unless if you're going fast, then I can see like 2.5, but 3 hours seems to be like the average, I feel, for going through and completing one act. But it's a long time. It's a very long time. Now, I would argue that it's better than, or it's like Darkest Dungeon 1 is better in that way, but if you really think about it, it's kind of like the same. Because, yeah, sure, you could go, in Darkest Dungeon 1, you could go and fight a boss, and that takes, what, like, maybe about 30 minutes to get to, like 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get to the boss, and then the boss fight's like, I don't know, at most like 10 minutes or so. But that's not the problem. The problem is, in Darkest Dungeon 1, you had to level up your characters to get to fight the boss. So if you wanted to fight a champion 6 level dungeon and the boss, that takes hours to get your characters up to that, you know, that spot too. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of the same as in Darkest Dungeon 2, where it takes that long to get. That's why it takes so long to get to fight a boss in a certain region. But I do like the game though. I know I started off this video with kind of like ranting about it, but I'm just saying what's on my mind, and I don't hate the game. I just wish that there are definitely some things that could be changed to make the game better. And I know they will. They definitely are passionate about the game, and I look forward to those changes, because the game has definitely come from a long way. Definitely has, especially from Early Access, where the relationship system was awful.
Get the fuck up here.
That's part of the reason why I quit playing the game. Because the relationship system was so bad. Because it was more intrusive, it took more time to get through fights, and it wasn't as, it was pretty bad. It was pretty damn bad, but it definitely made it for the better, I can tell you that. But I had a good time. Had a good time going through, or as much of a good time as I could, with RNG wielding and everything. Going through and, going through the game on a fresh save file.
I mean, I gotta do this.
Because I had the option to import my Epic Games file into my Steam and then transfer that over, and then I would start on Act 4 immediately, but I thought, why not? Why not just start over? I would get the full experience, the new experience, but in a way, I'm glad that I did it. As frustrating as it was, I'm glad that I did it, because I haven't
right?
done those, or I haven't done the hero shrines in a year or so, so it's nice to catch up and to relearn, or not to relearn, but to do them all over again, and to get immersed in the lore or whatever. But I'm not a lore Andy anyways. But I won't spoil Act 4 and 5. I will say that it is easier than Act 3 though, because I haven't uploaded those videos yet. They're coming out very soon, probably like in the next couple of days, but I did have fun. I did feel satisfying about the ending too. Won't spoil that either, but it was fun to go through. definitely had some hype moments and everything. So, very exciting. I'm glad that I picked this game back up and bought it on Steam. I'm still glad that they offered the discount of, if you own Darkest Dungeon 1, you get the discount of DD2, so that's very nice. Is that all I want for Darkest Dungeon 2? I think so. Oh, there's, I guess I could go into, like, the couple of nitpick things that I have in DD2. So there was a run where everything was going smooth. I had my typical comp of Men-at-Arms, Highwayman, Jester, and Plague Doctor. With Men-at-Arms running like Vanguard or Bulwark or whatever one that gives him the Shield Bash upgrade and the one that gives him more damage on Riposte and Crush. Those are really good. Then Highwayman, I always take Sharp Shot because it's OP. Okay. I'm a meta slave, I'm sorry. And then Jester take Virtuoso for the stress relief. Because it's really strong. Like there's a lot of attacks that have single target AoE or no, that's redundant. They have single target stress damage and then AoE stress damage, and being able to have the chance to negate any stress in the game is huge. And it's procced actually a lot of times, so it's pretty good. And then my Plague Doctor has Alchemist because I like Alchemist more than Surgeon. Because I like with my team comp, I like having my Plague Doctor in the back and not in the third rank. Because I move my Jester back and forth with Fade to Black and then Razor's Wit to apply combo and blind every other turn. That has been working out for me. And it's great. I like it. I like it a lot. So I was getting to the point of there are certain things that you can remove for quirks. I believe in Darkest Dungeon 1 you can remove any quirk that you want. But in DD2 there are some quirks that are obviously bad. But there are some positive quirks that are bad too. One of them being Breacher. Now Breacher is fine because at the start of the combat the hero moves up to the front rank and they apply to themselves block, taunt, and damage. Now it's not that bad if you get on your tank, right? But there were a couple of runs, more runs than I would have liked to admit, where Breacher ended up being on my support, like my Plague Doctor. And it just completely fucked what I was trying to do. I believe one of my Act 3 boss attempts at like the last inn, my Plague Doctor got Breacher. Just randomly. And I spent like all the wild tea and yeah, all the wild tea trying to remove it. Because that has the chance, because it removes a negative quirk and then it has the chance to remove a positive quirk. So I was trying to get rid of that shit at, ASAP, but nope. So guess what? I died. I died in the Eye boss because of that. That's fine though. That's fine because it'd be the Eye boss anyways.
Nice.
I also hated getting the Harvest Child's boss trophy, the one that gives you more health but lowers your death resistance. Like that pretty much is just unusable. I hated getting that. So I mean, you could always just not do that boss, but not fighting a boss because of a horrible trinket, like that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I do like the Flagellant though. Now the Flagellant is a new addition to Darkest Dungeon 2, but not a new character. Because he was in the previous game. Except this time around he has a Blade instead of Bleed, which I find interesting. I think I might have preferred the Bleed because it seems more thematic and more in touch with his old character, but they changed it up with this new character being more battle scarred and more worn out and being like almost like a zombie with all the years of him being tortured and abused. But he's very good. I really do like him. I did fight Death once, and I almost died, but Death was a fun fight to go through, so that's cool. I wish the game also had Darkest Dungeon 2 had more mini bosses like Death or like the Collector, or what's the other one? The thing from the stars or something like that. The one from the Miller. Not the Miller, but... What's that? What is that zone called? The Colors of Madness? Is that what that is? The Color of Madness, that's what that is. Yeah, just more optional bosses like that. Or instead of fighting Exemplar in the last... Or the fight before the last inn, you would rotate different mini-bosses, like maybe the Collector or the thing from the stars or something like that. Just more variety would be great too, because there's a lot of times where I'm just fighting the same team groups over and over again. It gets very, very repetitive in that way. But I feel like overall I do like Darkest Dungeon 2. Don't know if I like it more than 1, but I can see me playing more of 2 than 1, which is kind of weird to say, but the problem that I have with 1 is that it gets more grindy towards the middle game. At least in DD2, the runs are long, but there's a for sure endpoint. Whereas in DD1, the game pretty much depends on how geared up your characters are. And how well you think you can fight your next boss coming up. That's what I like about DD2 more than 1. And I also like the token system more than DD1. Because with the token system, it makes a lot of things more balanced. With you not being able to... I don't like stalling. I think stalling's kind of lame. Trying to drag fights out to get, like, to min-max, I don't know. It's fun, but when you do it every single fight, it just gets so boring and dull, you know? So that's what I do like. Because in DD1, you can stall... If you have the right team, you can stall every fight to heal all your stress into full heal, pretty much. And I do like that some characters are updated to maybe play entirely different than their last... than the last game. Like, especially the Cultist and the Vestal. Whereas the Vestal is more tanky than just a monkey Divine Grace spammer. Where she could actually tank and apply debuffs and stuff and give those consecration tokens and heal them off, because it's really interesting. I really glad that they updated her character to do more stuff than just to be a heal spam. And the Cultist is nice too, because I never really considered the Cultist a healer anyways, but in DD2 he's more of like a debuff flex, or like, yeah, flex DPS character, which is cool. Because I put him in the back 2 ranks with the Warlock path, or whatever path that gives him ranged, or buffs his range skills, so I can spam Spaghetti and spam, or not spam, but use Falling Stars, whatever that is, that nukes enemies from range. It's really good. But overall, I do like the game. I would give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I believe the last time I talked about DD2, I gave it like a 6 or a 7. But after playing the full game, I do have to raise it up, because it is good. I can't lie, it is a very good game, and I'm glad that I played it. And everybody should play it, because it is a good game. I'm really curious to see what other people think, or especially people who have played DD1 and who are now going through and have played DD2 and what they think too, if they agree with what I have said or not. Yeah, so I think I'll be moving on, but I know this month the update is going to be mainly focusing on 2 games, and Darkest Dungeon 2 being one of them. So that's fine though. Then briefly at the beginning of this month, after playing through RE2, I bought Resident Evil 3 on Steam. And let me just tell you, I'm glad that I got the game for $10. Because I find it insane that people have paid like AAA $60 or $60 for this game. Because it is not at all worth the playtime for $60. To put in perspective, I got 60 hours out of RE2, or 56.9 hours. Whereas, and I paid Well, I didn't pay $60 because I got it on Steam on a Steam sale for like 10. But
What?
for RE3, I have a total of 7.8 hours, and I don't want to play the game anymore. Not saying that it's bad, but I don't really see the replayability, because it does have like the mechanics of RE2 where you can play as Leon and then Claire. It has certain sections where you can swap between Jill and Carlos, but it's not the same because you're not swapping completely different stories, because the story is always linear. You're always playing as Jill and then Carlos for certain sections, but it's never like RE2 where you could start off as Jill or Carlos and then switch later on. It's not like that, which I wish that they did something like that, but
Now I go.
But the main problem I have with the game is that it's very short. I was taking my sweet time, and I beat the game in 8 hours. Some have beat the game in like 6, and I think 6 is probably like the average. But that's the problem. You spend $60 to play 6 hours worth of game time? Like, that to me is garbage. That to me is not worth it. So I'm glad that I got the game on sale.
That's my shot there.
And didn't pay $60, because I would be livid. I would be pissed if I paid $60 for a game that was 6 to 8 hours long. That game better be the best game I've ever played, and it's not. It's not, though. Yeah, I was going slow, too. I was in every single room that I went to, I was looking over, make sure that I didn't skip any clues or any story collectibles or anything like that, but it was rough. It was rough when I realized that it was kind of over. Now, RE3 had their own version of Mr. X called Nemesis, and I didn't like Nemesis at all. I thought that he was a worse and more annoying version of Mr. X. Because he's very different. With Mr. X, you're in the police station or wherever, and he's pursuing you, and it's intimidating because you can hear his footsteps, and he's always chasing you. Whereas in RE3, he does the same thing, except it's not as intense. And he'll chase you. He's a lot faster, and he has like these range attacks that can just hit your character whenever he wants to. So it doesn't create the same suspense and as Mr. X does, which sucks, but I can kind of see what they're always trying to step up the previous game, and it was a nice thought, but didn't land where Mr. X did, with him being more intimidating and more suspenseful. Because Mr. X or Nemesis is more annoying because all he does is just follow you around and gets in front of you and just blocks the way that you have to go. He's not really that intimidating or that scary to fight. I kind of wish that RE3 was more slower paced than RE2. Because there were times where I felt like in RE3 it could have definitely slowed down, because it is a lot fast. Like, it's almost jarring going from RE2 to RE3 with how fast Jill moves and how slow like Leon and Claire moves. But at least in RE3 you have a dodge mechanic, and I wish RE2 had a dodge mechanic. That would have been very helpful to get through some sections, but especially that boss fight with the container with Jen I forget his name, but William Birkin in the sewer. That was awful. And the story isn't as good too. That's the sad part about RE3. The story isn't as good, and it's very short. There's not like a good main villain like there was in RE2 with Birkin, and it's just some generic Russian guy. I didn't connect with the villain at all, so. But I did like Carlos, though. I thought his sections were really fun. I liked his AR. I wish Leon, or even Claire, had an AR gun. Or something like more high-powered than just like an SMG. And fuck the shotgun. But anyways, I think that's it for RE3. I know it's a short segment, but I mean, the game was short. The game was super short. Yeah, I mean, but RE3 definitely, it looked good, but it was it felt more like DLC for RE2 than an actual full game, which is sad. I wish it was.
That's not
Wish I wish I found the game more enjoyable because I really enjoyed RE2, but it wasn't.
Way more intense.
It wasn't. So that sucks.
Kind of like not even fair.
So that will be it. I think that's it for RE3. And I guess I'll mention that I'm going through Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, and I just started the game a couple days ago, and I'm still in the beating section, so I can't really give my review of the game yet, but for my first impressions, I will say that I like it more than 3, but right now I don't think I like it as much as 2. It is very intense, though, and very scary. Like, it definitely gets more scary than 2 does. So I will say that, but so far with RE7, I like it, but I still miss the slower paced, kind of tactical movement that RE2 had. And I guess 7 is a lot more like RE2, but it feels like a hybrid between RE2 and RE3. Which, it is good, but it's not the same as RE2. So I guess that's it for RE7. I don't know. I'll talk more about it probably next month, but next month is going to be insane with Diablo 4 coming out. So I'll definitely be focusing on that more. Which is a nice transition, or a nice segue into Diablo 4 anyways. So this month, I think last week, was it last week? No, not last week, a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was the server slam test. Now this was another like open beta sort of thing for Diablo 4 that was only 40 hours long, which is pretty insane. And this time around in the first open beta test, I played as a druid, and then I switched to necromancer, and then finished my necromancer playthrough. And my necromancer playthrough on YouTube is gonna finish soon too. I have it lined up so that when the playthrough ends, Diablo 4 will release, which is kind of handy. So I timed that right. But yeah, I played through my druid, stopped playing because I realized that the druid sucks. And when I suck, because I'm new to ARPGs, it wasn't that enjoyable. So I switched to the necromancer and I had a better time. But anyway, so this time around in the server slam test, I played as a rogue. A ranged rogue using bows and arrows, which was pretty cool. I really liked being a rogue and being a ranged rogue. It's a lot of fun. So I think I've decided within myself that I will play a ranged rogue on release for Diablo 4. So we'll see how that might change, but I don't think it will. I'm not really. I did play sorcerer, but I didn't like how I kept dying because I felt so squishy. Because I believe in the early, or the previous beta test, the sorcerer is pretty OP with how well they can survive with all their cooldowns, or all their cooldown reductions to all the armor and shields that they had. But definitely in the server slam test, they felt like, or at least I felt like I was dying constantly, or it felt like I was way more squishy. And then the barbarian, I have no issue, or don't really care for that much of playing at all. I don't really care about swinging a giant weapon around, a slow weapon around. I like being a fast boy with a bow and arrow. That's more my speed. And a cool thing that they added in the server slam test was the world boss, and how if you beat the world boss, Ashava, you get a little trophy mount thing. Which, I mean, in all honesty, it's not really anything to get excited about, but it's funny because on Reddit, there's like a whole meme of, there's a group called the ATC, the Ashava Trophy Club, and they're making fun of all the people who have complained about how they couldn't kill the world boss because their build sucks, and they didn't get the Ashava trophy. It's so funny, but it's so stupid, which is why I think it's funny to mention. And I am part of the Ashava Trophy Club myself, so I will now dunk on everybody who doesn't have the trophy. You plebs. No, but really, I beat Ashava, I think, 5 times? Which is a lot. Like, that whole day, I think Saturday, pretty much starting from noon until like midnight, I was playing the game and fighting and grinding and trying to get the most that I can out of the server slam test to get a better feel of Diablo 4. It was very fun. If a game can let you play all day without getting bored, it's a good game. So I did have a good time, so I will be looking forward to that. Especially since I'm new to ARPGs anyways. I'm a newbie. This is my first ARPG game. It's kind of redundant, but you know what I mean. My first Diablo game, so it was fun experiencing everything new for the first time. And it's always fun being new to a series anyways. But I mean, if I'm new and I beat the Ashaba world boss, I don't see why other people couldn't do that either. But this time around, I made sure that I blasted through the campaign and tried not to mess around because he only had 2 days to play, so I went full fast mode monkey. Full monkey mode and just went through the campaign. But I did play Sorcerer, and I mentioned briefly, but compared to the Druid, I didn't like Sorcerer that much. Mainly because I just kept dying. I don't know, I wasn't surviving as much as I was as a rogue, which is kind of interesting. That might just be me being not as good at the game, but... Well, I played both World Tier 2 for the Rogue and Sorcerer, then I switched to World Tier 1 and fight Ashaba on World Tier 1 because I wanted to actually beat the boss. I mean, I guess I probably could have done it if I had the better gear, but I don't want to risk losing. But yeah, for the Sorcerer, I played, I think, like, more of the combustion, fire, burning route. But maybe if I did the chain lightning thing, I would have had a better time. Yeah, so I didn't like Sorcerer that much. I got Sorcerer to level 22, which is the level cap of the Server Slam, but all I can say is I'll be playing as Rogue for Diablo 4, so that is very exciting. And I will not, I don't know, I thought about paying extra or paying whatever to play the game on what, June 1st or 2nd, or whatever the game will release for people who are turbo nerds and want to play the game earlier. I mean, all honesty, I should do the same thing, but I'm not. The game's already $70 fucking. I don't feel like paying more to play the game 4 days earlier. And then even if you do that, there's no guarantee that you'll have a smooth experience on the first day, anyways. So it's really just 3 days, which is it's a difference, you know. And you just never know with Blizzard, especially since well, it's funny, in the Server Slam, I didn't get any queue times or any DCs, which is nice. I think my game crashed maybe once, but that's pretty good, I will say. And like, it's very different from my first experience with the previous beta, where I kept crashing every like hour, and I would put me in a hour-long queue time as punishment. But yeah, I know this video is going on for a while, but I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Oh, I did play more Warzone, and I think I uploaded, or as of today, on the 27th, I uploaded my kind of like weekly highlights of Warzone content, which I think I might transition more into, which I think is probably for the better, because I think like longer gameplay videos is kind of more kind of harder to watch and harder to yeah, kind of harder to watch. Whereas if I upload like little chunks and clips of things that I thought was pretty cool, it's a lot easier to watch. So I'll try this method out and see how it goes. But I'm not saying I'm having fun, because I'm not eager to play Warzone, but it's tolerable. Okay, that's a good word. It's manageable. Because I do play Warzone just on the weekends when my buddy's off of work. So, and that's it. That's all I want to play. I don't think I could play anymore. My brain would like turn to rot if I did that. But anyways, I think that's it for this May monthly update video. I believe that's all I wanted to talk about. And then if I wanted to talk about more stuff, I'll add in tidbits here and there that you probably won't notice. Or if you notice, then good for you. That is it. I don't know what I'll call May or this month's update and title it, but I'll find something. I'll find something clever. But anyways, seriously, I appreciate everybody who is new to the channel and who has watched and subscribed and commented, especially commented. That's one thing I will say. I love responding to comments and interacting with people and offering any advice or any help or just anything or comments. So comment away. But yeah, I won't drag this out any longer. So I appreciate everybody who has watched and subbed over the last month. I'm grateful. And until next time, take care.
Nice.